So there's this question that drives the search, which is, how will I awaken? When will I awaken? And behind that is the expectation or the hope that this mythical awakening, this magical awakening, will make the pain of the human experience disappear, that you will somehow be elevated, you will rise above it, you will no longer feel pain, that somehow the human experience gets wiped out and you live in some magical realm of eternal happiness or eternal peace or eternal something or other that is in the imagination or in the hope or in the expectation. This underlying hope, this underlying expectation, this underlying myth that is created serves to feed an unconscious, it's not conscious, if it was conscious then it wouldn't be happening, but an unconscious mechanism of spiritual bypassing. So what initially starts out as a spiritual search for truth ends up being quite the opposite, an avoidance tactic, a need or a desire to escape. So rather than getting closer to reality, rather than getting more intimate with reality, there is actually an escape from reality. And this creates all sorts of problems. So the turning point, there's a turning point that happens, that comes at some point that leads to maturity. Yeah, so the initial search for awakening can be an immature desire to escape the human condition, as if there is a magic bullet that makes it all okay. At some point, maturity starts to happen, perhaps when you get a little bit worn out with the search. Yeah, you've tried all the teachers out, and still it's not happening, or it happens for a little while, and then you're back to where you were, or something new and unexpected and unwanted happens in life, and still you're feeling the pain. And there's a turning point that happens because the question starts to change. The question changes from how can I awaken, when will I awaken, to how can I deepen into my experience. How can I deepen? How can I open more deeply to this experience? This experience being the ongoing human experience. When you ask the right question, there is the possibility of transformation. So the question is more important than the answer. We think we're looking for the answer to my suffering, the answer to finding awakening or making it happen or having it happen to us, and so on and so on. It's not about the answer, it's about the question. So looking within and being honest with ourselves about what it is that we're asking. What are we asking of ourselves? What are we asking of life? What are we asking of the so-called teacher? Getting honest about that, really seeing what your question is, because that is driving the trajectory of your inquiry. If you can honestly say, and you have to find for yourself, that your question has changed from how can I awaken to how can I more deeply open to what is here, or some variation of that is in your words, then something can start to happen. That happening is not a magic bullet. That happening is not some transmission that somebody gives you. That happening is not some nice words that suddenly land on you and create a magical shift. That happening is something that starts to change in you from the inside. You start seeing, yeah? When you ask the right question, you start seeing in yourself where you've been giving your allegiance to hope, to expectation, to some external authority, yeah? Where you are projecting onto life, where you are projecting onto God, where you are projecting onto some universal power, when you are projecting onto some teacher or teaching, your inner authority, and saying, right, you do it. Whether you call this grace, whether you call this whatever you may call it, you're externalizing your internal authority. When I say your internal authority, it's about you and your willingness to open to what is here, to meet what is here, to sit with what is here, whatever is here, to sit inside the devastation, to not look for or hope for or expect an escape from that, an avoidance of that, a transcendence of that. And one of the ways that we avoid, apart from looking for the spiritual answer in the form of awakening or enlightenment or transcendence, one of the ways that we avoid meeting what's here are the stories we create in response or in reaction to what is here. To open more deeply to what is here is to sit inside what is here without the beliefs about what is here. When we create a belief about what is here, that belief clouds the reality of what is here. Beliefs that we create about what is here is that this shouldn't be happening, or it's happening and therefore I'm a bad person. Or it's happening and it's going to lead to this, and I don't want this or that, yeah? And so on and so on. To sit inside what is here, to sit inside the brokenness, to sit inside the devastation, to sit inside the pain, whatever form or shape it takes, does not require a belief about it. It means not coming to a conclusion, but simply this openness. That's an energetic shift in you. That's an energetically different stance, if you want to call it a stance, from clinging to a belief. When we start to ask that question about how can I open more deeply to this? How can I be more tender towards this? How can I simply be tenderness in this? Then we can, those beliefs that prevent that opening, that prevent that tenderness, they seem to rise up so that we can see them. We start to see where we've been hooking into a belief about this. And that's when truth starts to reveal itself. So asking the right question is a pivotal point. So a lot of the if we want to call it the spiritual search for something, it's actually about demythologizing, demything that search.